Today we will create a stylish and minimal slideshow animation in After Effects. I am Nikhil from Dope Motions, and without any further ado, let's get started. Make your own photo slideshow in seconds. Videohive Slideshow Maker enables you to make a slideshow with photos and videos in just 3 simple steps. Add photos and videos you like. Select an excellent theme for your slideshow. Select a target folder, save the slideshow or share it on YouTube and Facebook. All editing features serves to make your slideshow more attractive. Give them a try. Alright, so here we are in After Effects. Let's start by creating a new composition just like we always do. Let's rename this to main 1920 by 1080 30 60 fps. Let's go with 30 fps and make this 10 seconds long and hit OK. So there we have our main comp. Let's create one more composition, which is going to be our media placeholder, where we can drag any image or video to replace it later if we want to, and hit OK. I'm going to use an image that I got from pixels.com. It's a very cool website. You can download free images from that and use it for your projects. And I'm going to hit Control K, and I'm going to change the width and height of this media composition to 2000 by 2000 pixels. There we go. Hit OK, and I'm going to scale this up. I think this much should be good. Alright, this is looking good. Let's go into the main composition. Now I'm going to start by creating some shapes. So to create a shape, I'm going to select the rectangle tool. We don't need any stroke. I'm going to set this to 0. Let's make a nice white fill. Double click on the rectangle to create a rectangle shape. Go into rectangle 1, rectangle part 1. Unlink the size, and for the height I'm going to make this a bit small, just like that. Let's keep it around 850, I guess. That should be good. Yep. And then I can select that and align it onto the top, something like that. Now if you don't see this align tab, you can go into Windows and there you will find it. Let's make some room right here. All right, so there we have it. Let's select the rectangle tool again, and I'm going to create a small square where I can drag and drop the second image that the second text that I want to use. Now as you can see, the anchor point of this shape is not into the center. It's right over here outside from the shape. So to put it into center, what I can do is I can use a very quick shortcut, is Control Alt and Home, and bam, the anchor point is now into the center. Pretty simple and helpful. Even I was unaware of the shortcut. Just a few days back, a friend told me, and I think it's a pretty helpful shortcut. All right, let's select the text tool, and I'm going to type in our text. You can of course type in anything that you want. I'm going to type in gallery. Make this a nice maybe gray color or dark black color. And for the font, I'm going to go with Big Noodle Tiling, one of my favorite fonts. Make it a bit smaller and increase the kerning a bit, just like so. And then I can just place it into the center. Now what you can do is you can turn on the snapping, and so that it should snap into the center just like that. And to put the anchor point into the center, you can again use the Control Alt and Home shortcut. And yeah, that is looking actually pretty nice. Pretty happy with that. Let's create a new null object and parent all these 3 layers to the null. Now if you don't see the parent option, you can hit F4 on the keyboard, or you can right click right over here, go to columns and turn on the parent and link option. So now I can animate the complete shapes or all the layers using just one null object. So let's go to 1 second and maybe 15 frames, create a keyframe on the position, go back in time, and let's drag this out of the frame just like that. So we have a pretty simple animation. Let's select the keyframes, hit F9, go into the graph editor, and I'm going to create a peak just to make this motion a bit more interesting. So let's see how it looks. And as you can see, this is looking very nice. Yep, that is what I'm going for. Now I can drag the media composition just like so. Let's scale this down a bit. maybe something like, let's go with 45%. That looks good. And I'm going to place this below the gallery text, and I can place it into the position. Maybe I'll scale this to around 50%, or let's actually leave it at 45. Okay, let's zoom in a bit, and I'm going to put it into the position just like that. I can use the arrow keys just to be a bit more precise. And yeah, I think it's looking very nice right there. Now let's duplicate the media composition. Hit Ctrl D to duplicate it and rename this to matte. And into effects and preset, I'm going to type in fill and add a fill effect onto the matte. Make it a nice white color and change the track matte of the media. So let's hit F4, change the track matte to alpha matte. And then what I can do is go to 2 seconds, select the media comp, hit P to bring down the position keyframes, create a keyframe, go to around maybe 1 second, and then drag it out just like that, maybe a bit more. So we have a very simple animation. Let's select the keyframes, hit F9, go into the graph editor, and then I can just create the same peak that we created before, just like that. Now if your graph editor doesn't look like this, make sure to right click and you're working in the edit speed graph and not working in the edit value graph. So many people have the same confusion, just to solve it. And yeah, that is looking very nice, I think. Yeah, that is nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some text. Let's create a new composition, which the width I'll set to around 600 pixels, and for the height I'm going to go with 200 pixels. Call this text underscore 01. Hit OK. Now you can of course type in any text that you want. I'm just going to type in the same text as the example that I use. So space, let's center this up, increase the size to around 200 pixels. Put it into the center, and the kerning I'm going to set this to 0. Alright, let's go to 1 second. Hit P to bring down the position properties, create a keyframe, go back in time, and let's drag this out like so. Select the keyframes, hit F9, go into the graph editor, and create a peak into the center. Okay, there we go. Very nice. Now I can duplicate the text, so I'm going to create 3 copies. So total we have 3 copies. Let's go into the text 2 and change the text. Let's actually align this like that. I'm just gonna put the anchor point into the center, but it's not working the way I want. So I'm gonna just hit Control Z. All right. Okay, so there we have our text. Now let's change this to creative. And let's change the third text as well. I'm gonna call this studio. Also make sure to put it into the center. Oh. Just like that. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. I think it's not in the center. So what I can do is go to 1 second, align this, go at the very beginning, align this, and now it's perfectly into the center. Now let's go back into the main comp and drag the 3 text layers that we have like that and place it into the position that we want. I'm going to turn on the snapping for now and hit Control R to bring up the rulers, and then let's drag it like so. Select the text 1 and just place it, text 2 and text 3. Let's zoom in a bit and try to be as precise as possible. You can of course use the arrow keys Okay, so far so good. Now let's displace the text a bit. So what I can do is I'm gonna make the text appear after some time or after a few frames. So I can just drag it like that, maybe somewhere like this one. Yup, that is looking much better. I think maybe a bit forward in time. As you can see, this looks much better actually. So at 2 seconds, or maybe let's go to 2.15 frames, I can animate the text a bit. So I select all the text and hit P to bring down the position properties, create a keyframe, go to around 3 seconds, and let's bring this a bit to the left, just a touch. Select all the keyframes, hit F9, go into the graph editor and create the same kind of peak that we created. So now we have something like this, very minimal movement, but it looks pretty good. Now I can select the keyframes and displace them a bit just like before. So we have an interesting movement as you can see. And then I can select the media or go into the media comp and let's animate this. Hit S to bring down the scale properties, create a keyframe, go to 3 seconds and let's set this to around 60. Select it, F9, graph editor. Now in this case, I like to use the keyframe wingman as I showed you guys in the previous tutorials. But as you guys know, I'm shifting to a new office. I've shifted actually to a new office, and this is the very raw computer. I have just installed Windows on this and After Effects and stuff, so I haven't installed any script and other things. So yeah, by the way, I'm gonna make a vlog about it, so stay tuned for that as well. And yeah, getting back to the tutorial, I think this is looking pretty nice. Yep. And now what I can do is let's create a new rectangle just like that. We don't need any fill for this. I'm going to set this to none. We just need a stroke of around 15 pixels. Go into rectangle, rectangle path 1, hold Alt and click on the link. And then just make this a bit smaller like this. Let's make this 1000 pixels. Oh, 1000 pixels. And then I can place it into the position that I want. I'm going to keep it something like so. Yep, that looks good to me. And let's go to 3 seconds. Select the shape layer, create a new keyframe on the size. Go to 2 seconds and 15 frames and let's make this smaller, just like that. Then hold Alt and close square bracket to crop the layer and put this below the media comp. So now we have something like that. Now obviously it's not looking that great, so hit U, select the keyframes, F9, graph editor and create a peak. So there we go. As you can see, this looks much better. Now to add a bit more accent to this design, what I can do is select the media composition, hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, F4 and set this to no track matte. Hit U. Hit U and get rid. Okay. And get rid of all the keyframes. Let's place it into a position that I want. So I'm going to place it somewhere around there. Let's put it a bit to the left. Okay. Create a keyframe. Go back to around maybe 1 second. I'll go to 1 second and drag this out holding shift. Select the keyframes, F9, graph editor. I guess till now you guys have got a bit annoyed with this same step, but this is very essential to make the animation look nice and smooth. As you can see, looks pretty nice. I think the animation should start a bit early. So what I can do is go to 2 seconds and 5 frames, select the shape layers, hit U and drag it. I'll go to media, drag this one as well. And now I can select this layers, hit U and drag the keyframes as well. So yeah. Yep, this is looking much better. Now to add some more accent, what I can do is I can go into text 1 maybe, select the text, hit Control D to duplicate it, hit U and get rid of all the keyframes, select it, hit Control X to cut and Control V to paste the text. There you go. Let's increase the size, nice and big, and just invert this to stroke. Let's set the stroke to around 2 pixels. And now I can use this I can use this text as some accent for our complete design. And this is one of the technique that I use for my Videohive templates as well. So it's very useful. It looks very nice. So I can place maybe this text right here, hit Control D to duplicate it, maybe place one right over here and change this to a different text. So I'm going to call this creative. And let's place it just like that and make it a pitch black color. There you go. And then let's go to maybe 3 seconds, select both the text layers, hit P to bring down the position properties, create a keyframe, go back to around maybe 1 second, and then I can drag this text out of the frame. Oh, make sure only one text is selected. Hold shift and drag them out of the frame. Select the keyframes, hit F9, graph editor, and this time I'm going to drag the handle to the left, this one as well. So we have a very nice and interesting animation, maybe a bit more. So as you can see, this looks very nice. Now to make the out animation or invert the animation, it's pretty simple. Let's select all the layers and hit Control Shift C to pre-compose it. Let's call this slide underscore. Oh, let's call this slide. And I'll go to maybe 3 seconds and 10 frames, hold Alt and close square bracket, hit Control D to duplicate it, right click, go to time and time reverse layer. Then what I can do is I can also change the time, so I can go right here and maybe add a stretch. Let's make this -60 and then hold shift and drag it so it snaps in right over here just like so. And now we have our out animation as well. So there we go. There we have a minimal but stylish looking slideshow animation. You can drag a video, you can add a video or a different image and make your slide animation look even more interesting. You can add maybe multiple, slideshows. Oh, one more thing before I wrap up is I can add some drop shadow to give a bit depth. So what I can do is select the media and select all the media and the matte, select the media and the matte, hit Control Shift C. And for now, I'm just going to leave it at pre-compose and let's add a drop shadow. Let's increase the distance a bit, put it right over here and increase the opacity and the softness just like that, maybe a bit. So now it has some more depth, as you can see. Maybe the opacity is a bit too much. I can just play around with it a bit, just like that. And yeah, that is looking much better. So that is a wrap for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if it did, make sure to subscribe, comment and like, and I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to stay raw, stay creative.
Wow.